Welcome to the Post for All Season Sports Show. I'm Drew Rubenstein here with Dave Racy. And Dave, let's talk a little bit WVU men's basketball attendances. The Mountaineers have had two Bob Huggins lows in attendances in the early part of the season. Attendances hovering around 4,800, and then in the days leading up to Tuesday's game against Gonzaga, which is a top 25 team, they've been really trying to promote this, selling $10 tickets. You see Bob Huggins tweeting every few minutes trying to get fans into the stands. What's your take on kind of the state here?
You know, I've always thought that if I scheduled, I would not schedule home games in December before Christmas, because that's all anybody thinks about. The students are, you know, they get off Thanksgiving break, they got finals and stuff, and then they're wanting to get home and get on to Christmas, and everybody's thinking about Christmas. I really think it has more to do with that than anything, as well as, you know, some of the other changes that we have talked about, you know, that the parking, $20, and the, you know, the change on the seats. I think maybe some people who had pretty good seats don't have those seats anymore, or they didn't renew because of the effort to get better seats for the large boosters. And they're the kind of people that don't come to every game. You know, they come to the ones that are really, you know, the big games. So I think there's a couple things in play, but, you know, Christmas just dominates everything.
And it's not uncommon to see WVU's lowest attendances, as you're saying, around the holiday season. That said, it's still at a rate that I don't know that people in the Coliseum are freaking out, but they certainly don't like the trend right here. And we discussed a little bit what can they do or what should be done to try to reverse this trend, aside from winning. Of course, that would be.
Well, I think, you know, they're doing all the things. I mean, you know, I think a lot of other places, when coaches are doing it, they're on campus, they're in dorms, they're, you know, sort of literally beating the drum to try to get people out. Now you do it by tweeting or whatever, and, you know, they're lowering the prices. And they have good opponents now coming in. You know, I mean, some of the other opponents weren't that good. So now you have Gonzaga, you know, a ranked team, and Purdue has a good tradition in basketball. And so you have some good teams coming in. And I think, you know, more fans will show up. They may not be selling out or things like that, but there'll be good crowds, I'm sure.
One of the things we discussed, too, that I was interested in getting your take on a little bit more is the event. It's no longer just a game, and that's kind of evolved over the years. This isn't necessarily something new, but it continues to evolve and maybe affect WVU in new ways that fans are looking for more of an event just in the game.
Yeah, you go to any of the, you know, the big pro arenas, the new ones down, there's just so much stuff going on. There are different kinds of concession stands and things. And, you know, everybody goes to a football game, half the people there to tailgate. You know, they're making it an all-day thing. And basketball, it's hard to do that. It's cold, it's dark, it's, you know, the parking lots aren't really conducive for it. The Coliseum was built, you know, 40 years ago or so, and before all this happened, it's still a nice arena. And I wouldn't suggest building a new one, but, you know, they probably need to do some things to make it more, you know, fan-friendly, and then, you know, maybe jazz up the halftime shows and things like that. Do something to make it a little bit more entertaining.
And you've gone to games, a variety, pro, college, over the years. I think that the appeal used to be, and I kind of wonder if it's waning a little bit, was you didn't get a feel for being at the game unless you were at the game, and is that still necessarily the case?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody's got a big flat screen TV, or at least, you know, the neighborhood bar does, and I mean, the technology and television, you know, the HD and everything else, you're almost there, it seems like, and you can be in a much more comfortable seat and a lot warmer.
What'll be interesting to kind of see maybe with the Coliseum or Mountaineer Field, it would require a lot of renovations, but a lot of the stadiums and arenas, and just traveling around the Big 12, you see a lot of the football stadiums going into smaller seating capacities, but more luxury and club level seating. And then you hear people saying that it's because people, the folks willing to spend money want the complete event that you're hitting on,
right.
And the only way to do that is with the club and luxury seating.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right to go. You know, you have the corporate buys and things like that, and a lot of times they're not really care about the football game as a place to be. You know, businesses, and they can conduct business, they can, you know, treat customers and things like that, and then, you know, you have seats for the regular fans too. But yeah, I think, you know, you can overbuild capacity as far as attendance. Basketball is a game you almost have to be close on. Football is not so bad. If you're up in the upper deck in the upper, you know, concourse of the Coliseum, it's a pretty tough seat to watch a basketball game.
And of course, the last one I think you would agree with is for these early non-conference games. If they want to get them spiked back up, you replace the Purdue's and the Gonzagas with the Pitts and Syracuse's and Louisville's, and we're not having this conversation.
No, well, it's one of those things you can't do. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Sure.
bringing in other schools like Gonzaga, but yeah, Pitt and Georgetown and those kind of guys, that brings a lot of feeling to it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Tuesday's game against Gonzaga should be an interesting one. They've got one of the best offenses in the country, and see if WVU's revamped team can hang with them.
It'll be interesting to see if we can improve on our last two outcomes with them. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joe.
And please continue to check TheDPost.com for the latest on the Mountaineers. We'll be live at Tuesday's game against Gonzaga. Thanks a lot for watching today.